Tania Mariscal. I'm really excited to be here and have the opportunity to share my experiences with all of you. A little bit of my background is that I was born and raised in Mexico. I lived there almost my entire life, and honestly, I never imagined myself pursuing my higher education in the United States. It wasn't until my senior year of high school that I had the opportunity to visit UTEP, where I learned more about the scholarships and how to apply to them. I remember that I came back to Mexico from that visit and I told my mom I'm going to give it a try and see if I could get at least one scholarship. Luckily I did, and that's how I became an international student in the United States. I recently graduated with a double major in finance and economics and a minor in communication studies. As part of my college experience, I had the amazing opportunity to intern with two companies, one of them Dell Technologies and the other one BlackRock. As part of this video, I'm going to explain you how I got into these companies and how you can also do it. Before I mention how I got into these companies, I think it's important to describe one thing that I did that made all the difference at the moment of applying. I have a little bit of an unconventional path. When I was a sophomore, I switched my major to business. It wasn't until then that I learned what an internship was, and it took me a long time to understand how to apply, and it was already too late for me to get any opportunities for that summer. I had three options: to do nothing, take summer classes, or try something else. I learned about this program called ISEC, which is basically an organization that is focused on leadership and development abroad. I applied to two programs that they had at the moment and I got accepted. One of them was in Colombia and one of them in Brazil. For that entire summer, I moved to Latin America and I started working in the business side of two nonprofit organizations. I think why this opportunity opened so many doors for me is because I acquired international experience. I also work with different projects that were extremely related to my major. I was actually managing some of them because since these nonprofits don't have a lot of resources, when they get people, you actually get projects that are important and you are in charge of them. And something else that I feel like is valuable is that I was actually working with locals. I got the experience not only to learn about the business side of these nonprofits, but also I learned new cultures and a little bit of a new language in Brazil. So these experiences were, I think, the pivotal moment of my undergraduate degree, because when I came back, I gained so many opportunities from them. So it's something that I think is important to mention, that sometimes you don't follow the common path. You do something different and it's really scary because everyone else is doing something else. But if you actually invest yourself in whatever you're doing, it's going to give you a huge return. So it's something that I would recommend if you have the opportunity to do it. The internship that I had with Dell was a finance internship. I was part of the investor relations team, and the internship program at Dell is a pipeline for a program that they have that is called Finance Development Program, FDP. So basically the internship is going to be the first step that you need to take to be admitted to the FDP program, which is a rotational program for 2 years. Every semester or 6 months, you get a new team and it's 100% focused on finance. So that was the program that I was in. I was part of the pipeline for that program. And how I got my offer to be an intern is that after I came back from Brazil and Colombia, I attended a conference. The conference is Alpha's annual convention. Alpha is the Association of Latino Professionals for America. And I think ever since my sophomore year, I've been attending their conference because it's a great investment for any Latino student. So how I apply is that when the convention is about to take place, you can submit your applications to Alpha's website. So I did that. I applied to Dell using Alpha's website. So after I submitted my application, I got an email from one of the members of the finance team at Dell, he told me that he was interested in talking to me about my experiences and the program that they had. And we scheduled a phone call before the actual convention took place. And then during the conference, I attended all the workshops that Dell provided. And at one of them, I actually met my interviewer. I met his SVP and the rest of the team member that was recruiting at Alpha. And it was an amazing thing because I actually had really good conversations with each one of them. And then after that, I got invited to the final round. So I got invited, and it was, I think, the last day of Alpha's convention when all the interviews take place. So that happened. I had my interview with the senior vice president. We basically talked about my background as a Mexican student in the United States. We talked about my experiences in Colombia and Brazil, and once the interview was over, a couple of days after the convention, I got my offer to be an intern at Dell. And I think it was an amazing thing just because someone saw my potential and he actually advocated for me to get the final round interview. That's something that doesn't happen every day. So I'm still extremely grateful with Dell for giving me an opportunity to intern with them as an international student. How I prepare for the interviews? Basically, for all the companies that I apply to, most of the times I've tried to apply to companies that have values similar to my own, and that helps a lot at the moment of the interviews because I actually can explain why I want to be part of these companies. I do a lot of research about their culture, their values, some initiatives that they have regarding diversity and inclusion, also the environment, especially with tech companies. So I do a lot of research about that. I prepare obviously all the technical questions that you expect to get as a finance major. And I also had a lot of examples about my previous experiences and how these were related to the role that I wanted. So that's how I prepare for it, and it worked. So yeah, that's how I got it. And now I'm going to talk about how I got my offer at BlackRock. The process that I followed with BlackRock was different to the one that I had with Dell. At BlackRock, I was a financial markets advisory summer analyst, and also I was fortunate enough to be selected as part of their BlackRock Founders Scholarship Program. And the reason why I'm telling you that the process is different is because you do have a specific deadline if you want to be considered for the scholarship too. And there's a couple additional steps that you need to take in order to get both the internship and the scholarship. Right now, I will tell you how I got the internship offer. The first interaction that I had with BlackRock was when I was a sophomore. I got invited to their Find Your Future forum. In this program, I was able to learn about the company, the culture, and the different divisions that they have. So once I applied to the company, I already had a good understanding of why I wanted to be there and what I wanted to be doing as part of BlackRock. The entire application was online. You applied directly on their website. They ask you to choose 3 different divisions. In my case, I selected Financial Markets Advisory. I also selected Latin America, and finally Client Portfolio Solutions. After I submitted my application, I got the first round with each one of the divisions that I selected. You get phone calls and they ask you why you want to be part of the group and things about the market, things about your previous experiences. Luckily, I passed the second round with all the 3 groups, and for this second round, you get video interviews, and you get interviewed by different members of the team of each one of the divisions. In my case, I was interviewing with the 3 of them as well. And then once you pass the second round, you get invited to a super day. I was invited to a super day with each one of the divisions, and how it happens is that you interview with all of them the same day. I had 12 interviews. All of them took place during the same day, and it was in New York. So from El Paso, I I went to New York to interview with BlackRock. And how it's divided is that first you interview with one group. After you finish, you interview with the second, and then with the third. I interviewed with the three selections, with the three divisions that I wanted, and I got 2 offers from 2 of them, and I decided to go with FMA, that is Financial Markets Advisory. That's how it works. You do everything on their website, and once you start getting the interviews, you prepare for each one of them. The first round, the second round, and the super day that takes place in the office that you're applying to. What I would recommend is that if you can, you network. For me, I had the great opportunity to attend one of their programs before applying, so I already had some contacts that gave me insights about the application and what groups to pick. And then something else, I definitely encourage you to prepare for your interviews. I did a lot of preparation myself. I focus on both behavioral and technical questions. I use Glassdoor to find the questions that are usually asked in the divisions that I was interviewing with. For me, it was so useful to read the news every day, because I was interviewing with divisions that focus not only on the American market, but also in international markets. So I read a lot about what was happening in Latin America at the time, especially with Argentina. I read about what was happening in the United States, and also what was happening in Asia and Europe. So that's what I will advise you, depending on your group. But in general, you have to read the news, because they're going to ask you about what's happening in the markets. And then there's other questions, technical questions that I got. For those, I study some books that my friends sent to me about how to ask different technical questions when you have a super day with the finance company. And those help me a lot to get really good answers at the moment of answering a technical question. And then for BlackRock, in my experience, I think it's a company with such a good culture, and the people are looking for a cultural fit. I think it's good that you study a lot why you want to be part of BlackRock. You should read about what BlackRock is doing, the different initiatives that they have, how they're improving their diversity and inclusion. I think those helped me a lot. Also, I definitely related to the principles that BlackRock has, and those helped me a lot during my interviews to answer why I wanted to be part of BlackRock and why I wanted to be part of the divisions that I wanted. So that's my advice. Prepare a lot for your interviews. Something else is that I had several mock interviews. I'm not even kidding. I had like 10 before my super day. And for my phone interviews and video interviews, I also practice with my own camera. So that's something that you can do too. Film yourself, and that way you can see how you're answering, how you're moving your body. So I think that's something that helped me a lot, and hopefully these tips are going to help you too. Finally, I have an advice for students who are minorities, international students, or students in general. This is something that I've learned that no one ever told me before, and I think that I need it, is that you shouldn't change who you are to get a position. In my case, I'm Mexican, I have my Latinx roots, and it's something that I never try to hide. Actually, during my interviews, I will proudly say who I am, where I come from, the struggles that I had to pass to be where I am now. And I think a lot of people, especially when you come from a different country or have a different background to the one that you're seeing with your interviewers or the company that you're applying to, sometimes we think that we need to change who we are to fit in. I think that's a misconception. I think we should always be who we are outside the workplace and inside. We shouldn't have to change who we are to get a position. So that's my advice. Be who you are, do things that you love, and it's going to give you a return when you're doing things that you really love, and also when you're not changing your core personality and your core values. That's it for my video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any additional questions. Feel free to contact me if you want to have a conversation with me about my previous experiences. Also, if you speak Spanish, I talk a little bit more about my experiences on TikTok. Feel free to follow me, and good luck with your applications and what's next.